Hi Louie in the UK. Just a bit of a background on me. I'm 56. I'm a self-employed businessman. I was a DJ for about 25 years in my businesses. I ran catering businesses and nightclubs and pubs and discos for many years, and I was a drinker. I've always thought the thing that kept me healthy was I always liked steak and salad and fruit. All through all my bad years, I even smoked. I always loved a steak and a salad, and that was 90% of what I ate. And I didn't enjoy sweets or chocolates. I wasn't big on bread. When I turned 37, settled down with my wife and we had children. That's the beginning, really, health-wise, of the change in my life, because suddenly we were eating bread and chocolates and sweets and desserts. I never liked cereals, ever. But once I had children, of course, you wake them up, you give them a cereal. Nuggets and chips and McDonald's, and yes, we were giving them healthy meals as well. But generally, their main diet would have been pizzas and pastas, spaghettis. So this was the beginning of my road of eating food that was very bad for me, as well as pastas and pizzas and sweets and chocolates and crisps and biscuits. All of this started after I turned 37. I've always exercised, I've always run, I've always done a bit of weight training, I've always done walks. I noticed, even though I exercised and even though I did long walks and did long runs, my weight was gaining. I would never lose weight. I felt lethargic and tired. My sleep was terrible. I developed ulcerative colitis, which means I had a problem. I was going to the toilet 6, 7, 8 times a day. I couldn't leave the house before 11 o'clock because I was worried I'd have to run to the toilet. This is how I lived for 15 years. I wasn't a well person, didn't have the energy levels that I should have. I just became used to it. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. My head became all scalpy. I had very bad bleeding gums. I had rashes. I'd grown a lump here that had to be removed. My gallbladder, very painful when I had that removed. I just wasn't a well person. My gut started getting very big, and I would put that down to getting older. I would blame my age for my shape changing of my physique. Just making excuses. But then I come across the carnivore diet and the fasting, the 24-hour fasting. Started looking into it and looking at all the people on YouTube talking about the carnivore and keto, about meat and fats and what vegetables can do to you with their defense mechanisms, about the fructose in fruit, obviously the damage that sugar, heavy carbs and bread and grain were doing to me. And I just kept, at first I just didn't believe it. Then I just kept looking and watching these videos and researching, and I started to think, there's some truth to this. We were meat eaters, foraging. If we did have fruit and veg, it would tend to be like berries and nuts, things like that. And how butter was good for us, and how bad the margarines are for us, and how bad all the vegetable and seed oils are that we were eating daily. My day would consist of waking up, having a very bad breakfast, chocolate pillows, food that was just bad for me. Then my lunch would be like the leftover meals of the kids that would be like pizzas. In the evening, I'd still be eating their leftovers. And once we'd all eaten in the evening, I was eating their leftovers, which could be cakes or chocolates, or could be a fatty meal that they'd had that was bad fats, and way too many processed foods, way too many. And I just knew that something was wrong, and I just kept saying to myself, I need to change, I need to change. It took me a long time, but eventually, with some encouragement of other people, just started saying enough's enough. I can't live like this anymore. I need to get rid of this fat gut, like a balloon. I looked 6 months pregnant, that had appeared, that I had turned into this odd shape, like a pear shape. And it was only going to get worse, and I was getting very bad dizzy spells, like 2 or 3 times a week. Literally felt like I was going to faint. Sometimes I didn't even know where I was. The fog in my brain was so thick, I couldn't think straight. And so, oh my God, I'm going to have a heart attack at any moment. That is where we get to the beginning of my journey, which is only about 3 months ago, where I said, enough's enough. I started doing a 24-hour fast. I stopped eating any sugar, any bread, any pasta, no chocolates and sweets, no pizzas, no spaghetti, all that stuff completely stopped. And I just ate meat, eggs, fish, prawns, cheese. And I did that for about 5 weeks. Once I got my weight just fell off. I went from 12 stone 4 to 10 stone 10 within 3 to 4 weeks. I literally couldn't believe it. It was like a miracle had happened to me. Once my weight got to a sensible level, I started craving a little bit of veg, a little bit of fruit. So I just introduced a very small amount of vegetables, fruit, preferably strawberries, berries. And then eventually, after about 10 weeks, I started eating some nuts and some plums, and this is where I've sat at the moment. I still think I need to knock the fruit on the head, the veg on the head, and the nuts. Anyway, so in summary, this is where I am now. My ulcerative colitis has completely gone. I go to the toilet every other day, once at the most. I don't get dizzy spells anymore. My scalp has cleared up. I feel very clear-headed, and I feel full of energy, and I literally feel that I'm completely cured of anything that was wrong with me. I am not pre-diabetic. I'm not going to become diabetic. So this has literally been a miracle for me, and I just want everyone to know I'm so pleased that I'm able to tell my story on YouTube. Thank you so much for listening to me.